Welcome to Formula S5 Hungary, and we start this race, and into turn 1 we have 15 cars. I think it's record attendance for this race, but we head into turn 1. The V car down the inside goes to Williams of Exxon Games. Joe there getting caught up. I think he's damaged his front wing by hitting Josh Grow, but heading through. There's 3 wide in the background. That's the 2 Hasses and MMR Racing. Bit of contact there with James Quinn. That's Joe in the Ferrari, the season 3 champion, who's had a bit of a break as of recent, but he's come back now. He's on the outside of Faye, and around the outside he goes. Great move at top 4 there by Joe, who runs out a little bit wide there. Also RJ getting past Faye in the Red Bull, and AJ Curtis is continuing the pack up in the back. And there's chaos in the chicane. I think maybe one of the Alpines, and there's definitely a Haas dropping back as well. We're going to have to get a little replay of everything that's happened there. So 3 wide with James, and a bit of contact there with MMR, nearly a spin, but just about able to save it. Heading through turn 2. This is Luxy, named Sabrina Carpenter in the F1 game. Nearly runs into the McLaren of Harrison and makes contact with MMR, the V-Carb driver, who he was 3 wide with a moment ago. That's what caused the Constantina, the season 3 F1 23 champion, hitting the curb and spinning. And then what does he do? He hits Joshua Knotts. Ashley Curtis, the season 3 F1 23 champion, turns Joshua Knotts into an untied shoelace. I'm sorry, I had to make that joke as we head through turn 5, and there's Ashley Curtis bunching everyone up. Hits Joe on the outside of Hardy. It's a ballsy move, and he picks up not just the place on Hardy, but he picks up a further 3 places as well as that. He gets up 4 places because of that overtake and all the chaos that happened there. But at the end of the replay, I'm back to the live action here in Hungary, and the Ferrari of Joe, who's just behind the ALR Season 1 champion of F1 23, Team Super Jazz, who wasn't driving a Ferrari. He was driving an Alfa Romeo at the time of his championship win. But down the inside goes Luxy on Joe, who's struggling with a damaged front wing, and he's picked hard tyres, and the alternate strategy compared to everyone else. Down the inside goes Luxy, very deep on the brakes. Joe switchbacks, and that's a dirty switchback if he can make it work. Oh no, he runs out wide onto the curb, and he nearly runs into the Haas's side, and that could have been a monster of a crash. They're heading through. Sabrina Carpenter, otherwise known as Lux, he does get through, as cutting the corner there is cured, and he would get a 3-second penalty for that. And round goes, is that one of the Alpines? That's one of the Joshua's. That might be Joshua Grow, I can't really tell. But heading through with Ashley Curtis, one of your champions, 1 or 2 champions on this, no, 3 champions on this grid, with Mink Castro, who's currently leading the race. Up in front, Joe, who's in the car, locking up there, and Harsey is trying to make a move. Joe, he might be trying to back up Harsey into Team Super Jazz. If so, that's great teamwork by Ferrari. There's Faye getting a corner cut on the pit entry, very peculiar. We've run on board with James Quinn for that one, as here we are on board with the number 1 car of Faye. She isn't a number 1 for any other reason apart from the fact that it's just a meme, and she's forced wide by Joshua Grow in the Alpine. Joshua Grow late on the brakes and forcing Faye wide. That was very similar to the Max Verstappen-Lewis Hamilton crash of 2024 Hungary in real life. Yeah, here we go then. The 2 Ferraris are getting very close to each other. Could we see a battle between the 2 Scuderia Italian cars? Well, let's have a look here. We're on board with Joe, who was in Ferrari in ALR, and he's going to go around the outside of the ALR Season 1 champion at turn 4. He's forced a bit wide. Is he going to get the move? No. Chain hangs it around the outside of turn 5. Great racing by Team Super Jazz, who gets ahead of Joe. Incredible. And now, as we fade out, Team pits in a few laps to go, and now Joe is heading down the straight here with the McLaren behind, and that's a Red Bull behind even. And down the inside goes Harsey. Is Joe going to let him go? No, he isn't. He isn't going to concede at all. He's going to hang around the outside and use the battery to his advantage. Maybe take the place from Harsey. Down the inside he goes, and Harsey, unless he can hang around the outside, and on the inside of turn 3, like Sabrina Carpenter, Arbiter did earlier on, but that's not going to happen. Now we're under the safety car because Harrison in McLaren had a crash, and during the safety car, there was a speeding drive-through penalty for Hardy, but you may see that he is out of the race. Well, he is, because he retired in the pit lane. So that means Mink Castro, Excellent Games, Cured, and MMR Racing are your top 4, and then comes the Ferraris and the Hasses, who are in a tight battle for the best of the rest of the fifth. Then comes the 2 Alpines, who are battling the Red Bull of Faye, the Mercedes of RJ, and the Aston Martin of Ashley Curtis, who is one of 3 champions on this grid in this specific league. Heading now down into turn 1, and on the inside that's a Haas passing a Ferrari and another Haas passing a Ferrari. Down the inside goes Luxie, triple overtake on every other Ferrari powered car. Great move by Luxie, Sabrina Carpenter. Joe's picked up 2 places as well, and James has dropped massive. I think Tame Superjazz is disconnected as well. Horror for him. And now we have James Quinn and Joseph Singh. Now these 2 have battled before in ALR Monaco and in other ALR races, where around the outside goes Joe. Contact with James. They also battled in ALR Qatar, and they're battling here very close to contact there. I think maybe James hit the curbing, and that may have put him into the side of the Ferrari. And now Joe having to watch out as the Haas and James round the outside at turn 8 and 9. That's a place where you do not normally overtake, and that's a bit of contact there with Joe, but Joe is still in front, and they're making contact into turn 11. That's incredible stuff. Heading into the turn 12 braking zone, and down the inside goes James. Is Joe going to be able to hold him up? He's forced off the track, so far off the track, he does a wheelie on the gutter. Incredible stuff. But is Joe going to be able to stay ahead of James for much longer? He's kept him behind for 3/4 of the lap pretty much. And now heading down the straight, and it's the Haas of James on lap 20, gonna finally get past Joe. He does, and he pushes him off the track, clearly frustrated with Joe's driver, and he's round into the back of him, and Ashley nearly runs into the back of Joe. Down the inside goes RJ. Joe forces James on the track. RJ picks up 3 places in 1 corner, and Faye might follow him into turn 2, and Joe breaks his front wing, and damage for Joe's Ferrari, and he's been forced off the track by Ashley Curtis, and RJ and Faye both pick all 3 positions that they were fighting for. Incredible battle there on lap 20 of 25, and now Joe's limping to the pits with a broken front wing. We're on board with Faye further up the road, who's behind RJ, who made that incredible lunge down the inside of Joe, RJ and AJ Curtis. Or Joe, James and AJ Curtis, should I say, but we're on board with James in the Haas now, and now to the outside. Is James going to get the move on Faye? Yes, he is, finally getting back past Faye, and back into the position he was fighting Joe for, and there's contact with Faye, and out goes both drivers. Faye still in the race, but James is out of the race. You can see on Joe's onboard, he was in the grass.
So we're retarded. What?
And Faye's just about survived, I'm pretty sure, but into the pits comes Joe to fix the front wing that was broken by James brake checking him, and also by Joe running into the back of it at turn 3, or turn 2. And here we are on the safety car restart, Joe getting past Faye on the inside. We don't have a lot of footage off the front of this race, but we can tell you that Cured is leading in the McLaren, and here's Joe getting past Exxon Games, who disconnected after a really strong run at the front of the field. But heading around the last corner, Joe comes home in 8th, but it's going to be Cured in his first race at the McLaren first race, or the McLaren's first win in Formula Asphalt ever, I'm pretty sure. So incredible stuff there. Here's the championship standings after that incredible race at Hungary. Joe and Ashley are 7 points separated, and Joe and RJ are separated by 7 points as well. So the battle for 4th is on, potentially even 3rd if one of them gets high enough to dethrone Tame of that 3rd place that he is holding right now. And that is 18 drivers in Formula Asphalt, which is the record attendance in a single season. We'll catch you in the next race at Abu Dhabi.